Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of what has happened. December 24th, Christmas Eve of 2024, so last year, we were set to go through with an eviction that we lost that was due to retaliation from our property manager and discrimination. And they actually showed up a day early on December 23rd. And my movers were literally 20 minutes from my home, and Madison Young, the property manager, along with Deputy Ward from the Buchanan County Sheriff's Department, showed up and told me that I had to leave. That their paperwork said the 23rd, even though the paperwork that we had said the 24th. They would not give me the 20 minutes in order for my movers to get there. Deputy Ward told me 8 times that he would stay until my movers came so that I could be assured that we would not lose anything. I agreed. They showed up at 10:30. I was allowed to get a few items out of the house. I picked up 3 suitcases, and I left the house with the promise and the knowledge that Deputy Ward would stay on property until the movers got there. And instead, that's not what happened. 4 minutes after I left property, Madison Young started taking down all of the cameras of the home. Now, I've been told by the property's attorney that she was only there to secure the home and change the locks, yet that's not what she did. If she was only there to secure the home, then she would have just changed the locks and moved on. Instead, she took so much pride in getting rid of our cameras. She was laughing and had another tenant, our next door neighbor, come over, and she told her what she could and shouldn't and couldn't have out of the home. She took everything. She took all my mobility equipment. She took active debit cards. She took all of our prescription drugs. She took everything. She took 2 businesses, 15 years worth of business records, IRS returns, has access to all of my employees and all of my customers' personal information as far as their names, their addresses, what cars they drive, what insurance they have, their social security numbers, everything. A complete breach of identity on over 500 people that were within our company. She also took over 3,000 items from my Poshmark inventory, basically leaving us with nothing. I tried to get the Buchanan County Sheriff's involved. They just kept telling us it's a civil matter, there's nothing they can do about it. And that has led to 6 months of living hell. Good morning, everyone. So I just wanted to give a quick update on everything that was going on. We are still trying to get into a place. We haven't been able to do that yet. Things just keep falling through on us. We did have a place for a little bit, and the water heater at the place had a small pinhole leak in it, which the landlord didn't know and we didn't know until the pinhole leak became a massive hole leak. And so the poor landlord has had to rip up the flooring and put down new flooring, new subflooring, all kinds of stuff. So we had to move out of there. We're hoping that we may possibly go back in, but he says it can be July or August before he can get us back in. So we're just kind of trying to just make it through every day the best that we can. We're still doing the delivery job. Things have slowed down because, the tariffs, the prices on food and stuff is, more expensive now. So not as many people are ordering and stuff. So we make about roughly between 130 to 140 a day, which is not a lot of money at all. If we stay in a hotel, it takes 105. That's the cheapest that we can find. And obviously we wouldn't have much money left over after that. So what we're doing is just trying to make enough every day so that we can just basically sustain life. We're trying to do everything we can to survive, and we're staying as positive as possible. There are days where it's just so very hard. I'm sorry. But we do believe that God has a plan for all of this, and He's going to see us through. He has so far, so we know He will continue to do that. And one day, we'll be in a stable home again. That's our dream right now. We're still dealing with the Iowa civil rights. David Reynolds' attorney, Jonathan, basically just stalls everything he possibly can. He told the civil rights people that they no longer have my son's urn, that they threw it away, which in every state in the United States, if you were to take someone's human remains and you were to throw them away, it's a felony, but not in Iowa. So we don't get him back. And that is the hardest thing that we're dealing with right now, because it's like we've lost him all over again. And it's just very emotional, and it's very hard on my sister. She can't wrap her mind around how any of this has happened, or why any of it happened, other than Madison Young just being very selfish and just wanting to take everything that we had. And she did. We're still going to court over it all. We have multiple cases that are going to be filed, and try to see if we can get some kind of justice from all of this. Jonathan, David Reynolds' attorney, still has both of our birth certificates and both of our social security cards, and he absolutely refuses to give them back. In January, he told us that he would mail them to us. Well, now it's the end of May, and we still don't have them. He told Lindsay, our mediator with Iowa Civil Rights, that he didn't feel comfortable sending the birth certificate and social security cards to the address that we provided him with, because they're still holding our mail for us. They've been holding it for almost a year now, but he refuses to send it to our address. So the downfall is my birthday is coming up in September, and I have to renew my license. Well, the problem is, without a birth certificate, I can't renew my license. So we're looking at having to pay $150 to replace our birth certificates. And we just don't have the money right now. Just plain and simply, we don't. $150 is like $1,000 to us, and we just don't have it. So we're trying to do everything that we can. Iowa Civil Rights is trying to do everything that they can. And on Wednesday, they asked us if we wanted to move from mediation, since obviously Jonathan has no intention of mediating anything with us. They asked us if we wanted to move into the investigators part, which will give us a court date and actually put us in front of a judge. So we definitely agreed to go ahead and do that. So now we're kind of in that phase right now. They told us that that HUD had sent down a memorandum stating that they wanted the case solved in 100 days. It's already been 70 days. So we still have another 30 days to go. So, fair housing is also involved, and, it's just that the court system here is so slow that we don't know if that 30 days that's left, if we're going to be able to have this all settled and we'll be in court and in front of a judge within that 30 days. That seems kind of a little impossible to me because of how the court system is so slow here. So I think that it may take us a few more months. We just don't know. Everything is up in the air. And we don't get a lot of regular updates. So you kind of just do this blindly. Every day we wake up and we think, okay, maybe today is the day. So it's just not a fun time in our lives right now. There's not a lot of joy, and my sister, who is autistic, she's had such a hard time with this that for the first time in her life, she's questioning I'm so sorry. She's questioning, where's God? Why can't we get out of this? Why can't we have a home? Madison took both of our businesses from us. She took all the business records, 15 years worth of business records. Tax returns were taken. She took all of my employees and customers' contact information, which includes things like their names, their addresses, what kind of vehicles they drive, their social security numbers, every single thing that she needs to do identity theft on over 500 people. Yet that's still not enough for us to get the records back or anything like that. Jonathan just keeps saying, you don't have anything. You don't deserve anything. Madison had every right to take everything. And there's a statute in Iowa that says if a tenant leaves anything behind that's over $50, an itemized list has to be done, has to be sent to the tenant. They have to put the value of each item, and then they have to send this letter, certified mail, to the last known address, stating that, hey, you can come and pick up your stuff during this time frame. It's being stored at X place. There's going to be a storage fee of X dollars, and as soon as you pay that, you can come pick up your stuff. Yet Madison did none of that. Absolutely none of that. What she basically did was she went and used either an online site or she downloaded an app to spoof text messages from the cell phone that she knew for me. The problem is, what she didn't know was that in November, we changed cell phone services. We also changed providers, cell phone numbers, everything. Even got new phones. I have all the disconnected notices from when that number was disconnected, which was on November 10th. So she tries to claim December 23rd that I sent 2 text messages from a number that's been disconnected for over a month and a half. So, but it's a matter of I have to get her into court because only a judge will do anything about this. I've reached out to the Buchanan County Sheriff numerous times. I've sent emails to him. I've left voicemails for him. I've shown up 3 times to meet with this man. He refuses to contact me. He's never replied to an email. He's never called me back. And every time that I show up, they tell me, oh, he's in a meeting. Supposedly, he's been in a supervisor's meeting since January 27th. I hope they're feeding the man because it's been 5 months. The only thing that he would do was he sent the same Deputy Ward, who allowed all of this to happen, which I do give Deputy Ward some leeway because he did not know her intention. He did not know that Madison wanted to take everything from us. And he stated to me numerous times, 8 times total, that he was going to stay until my movers showed up so that I'd be guaranteed not to lose anything. Yet, when I left, he made the decision to pull out behind me and not stay. Had he have stayed and done his job, Madison would not have had the ability to take our stuff. So, I feel like he's just as culpable in all of this as she is. Anyway, 4 minutes after I left, did she start taking our stuff, allow another resident into the house, tell that resident the stuff that she could take and she couldn't take, and also tell the resident and have a phone conversation with who we assume is her husband with the things that she said, laughing and carrying on, talking to him about how I got everything from her. So we have so much evidence, like so much evidence. There's over 1,000 pages of evidence. Without having any of my mobility equipment, especially my wheelchair. Now, I have spent the last 13 years in this wheelchair. With not having any of that stuff, I have fallen a total of 8 times in the past 6 months. 2 of the falls have resulted in me tearing my rotator cuff on my left shoulder, which now I have to have surgery for. And also, I have herniated another disc in my back. I have 4 herniated discs now, and my L4, L5, and S1 disc are all completely depleted. I literally rub bone on bone. So every step I take is excruciatingly painful. I get electric shocks down my legs, and there are times that my legs just give out. They just, for whatever reason, they just won't sustain me. I also have severe sciatic nerve damage, and they told me at this point the only thing that they can do for me is to go in and do a nerve block on my sciatic nerve. We've done one before, which did not help, and they're saying that they're willing to do it one more time, but if it doesn't help this time, my only option is to actually have the sciatic nerve replaced, actually taken out of my body. That would alleviate any of the pain that I'm having down my legs and stuff like that. Still won't help my back, but it would alleviate that part. So, but that is like a general surgery, and so that's kind of scary to face. Plus, I wouldn't be able to work during that time, which is even scarier as well. So, all of that is just kind of been put on the back burner, and I just have to push through every single day because obviously I can't have surgery right now because we would not have any money. So that's just not an option for me right now. So, when I tell you that she took everything from us, she took our prescription drugs. I have not had, I take daily shots for my traumatic brain injury, and she took my shots. So, and I can't afford them to get them back because they're $1,000 a piece. And I had enough for a 1-week supply when she did take it. And so I haven't had any of my traumatic brain injury medication since December. So that's caused a lot of problems. I do have some swelling on my brain, which I have not had since 1999. So, the doctors are worried. They really are. I'm on Medicare, so there's not a lot that they can do for me. I have to pay out of pocket for quite a bit of stuff. And then, I had to replace all of my sister's medication too. She has very severe asthma, and she took all of her inhalers, just everything. She took the medication that she takes daily to help her breathe and stuff like that better. She took all of that. So I have not been I was able to replace all of her stuff. And my sister is the most important thing in this world to me. So if I go without, it's because I'm giving everything that I possibly can to my sister. She is having issues with her eyes. Several years ago, they found that there was blood pooling in her eyes. And so she's had like eye injections and stuff like that. She's still having to do that to this day. But the very crazy and sad thing is, in her left eye, she's lost color. She can't see color anymore. And she's an artist. So she paints and she draws, and color is so very important to her. And now she doesn't have that. They tell her that she could lose the color in her other eye as well. If it goes too long untreated, well, not really untreated. Like I said, she's doing the injections, but they're now talking about they may have to do surgery on her eyes. And there's a chance that she could go blind. And I was born colorblind, so I have no idea what it's like to see the world in color. But I know how much as an artist it means to her. So to see her suffering because of what Madison has done is just, it's so heartbreaking. And there's just so much. She took debit cards from us. I mean, everything. If you looked at your house right now and just looked around and imagined somebody coming in and taking every single thing you have. She even went as far as she took our washer and dryer that was only 4 months old, and she took our refrigerator, which was a little over 1.5 years old, and she actually sold it to the new tenant that she moved into our trailer and sold it as part of the trailer. So now they have stolen property in their home. But again, this is not something that Buchanan County will help us with in any way. I have tried. You cannot imagine. I have gone to the Ombudsman office. I have gone to the FBI. I have gone to every government organization you can imagine to try to get help. And while everyone gives us their deepest sympathies, that's all I can seem to get done. And yes, there's still many investigations going on. So I'm really hoping that once those investigations are over with, we're going to see some justice from all of this. But there's still a chance that we may never have justice. She took things like my sister's Bible. She took it, and on the inside of it, her mom had actually given her that Bible when she was like 8 years old. My sister's 67. And so 59 years ago, she gave her this Bible. And every time we had a new family member, she would write them on this tree, this family tree that was inside of the Bible, so that, God would protect her whole entire family. And now, we're all that's left. All 7 of our brothers are in heaven. Our parents and grandparents are in heaven. So it's literally just the 2 of us left on earth. My husband and my son are in heaven. And so it's very difficult when you don't have family at all to help. We don't even have like a soft place to land. Like, all of our friends are back in Colorado. We didn't really make very many friends here, and the people that we do know here, you just don't go up to a stranger and be like, hey, can you help us? So it's been very, very, very difficult. She took everything that we used. We're certified to train service dogs. We had a business when we first moved into the trailer where we were training service dogs for children who had PTSD or autism. And we actually had 15 clients. And because she would never control the dogs on property, the other dogs on property would just roam into our yard at any given moment. Well, we can't train someone, and we can't allow the person who has the service dog to come to our house, because there's a chance their dog could get attacked by any of these dogs. And so we had to let that go in 2023 because she just wouldn't do anything to control it. So with her taking all of our other 2 businesses that we had, she took all of the licensing and everything like that. So we have spent the last 6 months paying to get our license back, so that we can restart the businesses and all of that stuff. So we have, while we're being very careful with what we can spend and what we can do, it still has set us back so far. We should be able to restart one of the businesses here within the next maybe 15 to 20 days. We're just waiting on one last a license to come in so that we can. So that's been very difficult. And with them having our birth certificates and our social security cards, it's not like we can go out and get a regular job, because every place wants to see your social security card. And I've explained to like 10 different companies now what has happened. And they're like, oh my God, we're so very sorry, but there's nothing we can do if you don't have your social security card. Well, you can't get a social security card unless you have your birth certificate. So it's like this, we're in this just loop of bureaucracy that we cannot seem to jump into and get aside. There are some nights that my sister cries herself to sleep, and there's nothing I can do. I'm working 15 to 16 hours a day doing the delivery stuff, but like I said, at the most, we might make $140 that day. So it's very rough, and a lot of people are probably like, well, how do you do delivery, with your dogs and all of that? Well, we get up at 3:30 in the morning. We go to a storage unit that we have, and the people at the storage unit have been so nice to us that they allow my sister to stay there. It does have electricity inside of the unit itself, and it's climatized, so it's never very hot, it's never very cold. It's you can easily stay there is basically what I'm saying. So during the day, my sister stays with our dogs in the storage unit, and then when I get off at 9 o'clock at night, I come and get her. We load the car up, with the bedding and stuff. We go to a local campsite that we're staying at. It's only $10 a night, so it definitely helps us be able to afford that. And we try to make, dinner at that point. And then, we try to fall asleep, and we get up the next morning at 3:30 and do it all over again. So, and that's 7 days a week. That's been our life. Hi, guys. So continue on what I was telling you about in the last video. We are trying to come up with $115, and I know to a lot of people they're like, that's nothing, but to us it's like almost saying we need to come up with $1 million. But if we can come up with 115, then I can get Madison into civil court and in front of a judge, and hopefully we can get that done maybe about the same time or a little bit faster than what the Iowa Civil Rights is doing. We do have attorneys. I'm still trying to pay down their retainer fee, which is $7,000, and I'm nowhere near, but every day we just chip away at it and chip away at it and chip away at it. So eventually we'll get there. But our attorneys have told us to separate the cases out in the stuff that she's taken. She took all of my mobility equipment, meaning she took my wheelchair, my forearm crutches, my hoist, everything that I use mobility-wise. So in her doing that, I have spent the past now 6 months, since today's June 1st, the past 6 months trying to do this delivery work, and I had to buy a cane, and because she took all of my canes, and as hard as it's been, I try to walk the best that I can to do all of this.